Good morning. It's warmer here. It's still cold, but it's warmer than it was yesterday. Our 10 little piggies made it through yet another night, and they're getting bigger, and I think they're going to make it now, no matter what. So it's supposed to be really warm this next week. It was 20 yesterday, and next week it's going to be in the 70s. Welcome to Indiana. We have big temperature swings, and you can have it all in one day too. Wanted to offer a little bit of encouragement. I'm seeing a lot of people that are holding true to themselves. They're seeing all the noise, and they're saying, keep coming back here, keep coming back here. And it's really powerful to see that, because I think 3 years ago you didn't see that. You just saw more fear and fear and fear and fear. And so that's really encouraging. Something else that I wanted to talk about today was judgment. It's really hard because we're kind of taught to judge people, whether directly, indirectly, whether they're a sinner or a saint, how they look, what they do. And we're taught it's not okay, but it's okay. It's a very strange dichotomy that's always struck me as odd. And yet it's something we all inherently do. Because it takes nothing, right, to judge somebody. It takes nothing to gossip about somebody and to do those things, which we're not supposed to do, but we do. It can be very hard when someone is doing something vastly different than what we would do. And to sit there and hold them with love and acceptance, compassion, kindness, instead of judging them. That has been one of the hardest transitions in my relationships, is realizing that the only person at the end of the day that I can control is me and how I am to other people. And I can choose to be judgmental and why did they do that, or that's so wrong, or whatever. But I'm not in their shoes. And we have lots of like sayings and parables, like, until you've walked a mile in someone's shoes, you don't know them. Well, that's true. But we still judge people all the time. Even though we know we shouldn't, because we know their situation is unique to them. And even if they're opening up to us and letting us into a little window of their heart or soul, we're still only seeing a tiny piece. And oftentimes I think we see perhaps our greatest fear in someone else and what they're doing. Or maybe something we wish we could do ourselves. And if you start to look at people as a mirror and as a reflection of you, then you start to realize whatever's bothering you about somebody, whatever you're judging, is probably something you need to work on within yourself. And I could think of a lot of instances, but I'm trying to not. I'm trying to have compassion and kindness, and I wouldn't necessarily want my stories out there from somebody else telling them. That's not my place. But I'm sure you know what judgment is. You can see it reflected in other people, and you can choose to look at that and say, why am I thinking this? Like, why is this bothering me so much that they're doing this? Whether it's someone, I'm trying to think of just general examples, goodness. Being a girl, the biggest one was always, well, she's a loose girl or whatever. Well, there could be lots of reasons for that. Could be she was assaulted and she equates that with love. She could, constantly. It could be looking for love. It could be anything. And it's not my place to judge somebody. That's a pretty general example. But I think when we start to step back and become the observer in moments in our lives, when we're having conversations, and I'm sure this has happened to you, where we go, oh, why did they do that? Why did they think that? Why, those are judgments. And then it's up to us to go to either continue that train of thought or to go, why am I thinking that? Like, why is my first response to judge them and it's not to offer help or compassion or love or kindness? Why is my first go-to to, be catty or jealous or just unkind? Especially girls are taught that, other girls are going to be out for you. They're going to get your man. They're like, she's prettier, she's more popular, things like that. And we're taught to undercut each other from a very early age. And it can make friendships very difficult. You trust people and whether they tell somebody something or just anything. And it's funny, I had a really amazing weekend almost a year ago, not quite, a women's retreat, and not a biblical retreat. It was very different from that, but I call it a retreat nonetheless because that's the word that works in my head. And it was the most amazing experience of womanhood and what women can be. We can be constantly lifting each other up, constantly understanding, constantly just being and honoring one another for what and who we are. It was the most amazing experience, and I have really tried since then to recreate that in every relationship that I have. And generally that comes from a point of losing judgment. And there's some people I am so much better at not judging than others, and I have no idea why it's easier with some people than others. I would imagine that means I need to dig deeper and go, why is this person constantly triggering me to judge? And do more inner work there. But I'm also stepping back and observing that and catching myself more and saying, oh, we're rushing to judgment. Why are we doing that? Okay, let's step back. Is this how we want to be? And it's in those conscious observational moments that we are making change. We're becoming who we want to be and shedding all of these rules that society has given us that we are supposed to be and do. We always have things we're shedding. I don't think in this lifetime I'm ever going to get to a point where I'm like, I'm good. There's no more work to do. I mean, that'd be amazing, right? But then I'd also not be learning, and then I think it'd be time to go. And I like the learning. I like the growth. To me, that's part of the reason to be here. As we come in, we have all these things put on us. And then it's up to us to discover if we can shed them or not, and how much we can shed. Why do we shed this or not that? People talk about a heaven on earth, perfect world. And I think you need to ask yourself, in a perfect world, would we be all walking around judging people, telling each other, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're not awake, you don't really know what's going on. I can't like you because you had a jibbity jabbity. I can't like you because you do this. I can't like you because you're running around with 50 people. I can't like you because you're not working. I can't like you because anything. You're not doing something to my expectations. That's judgment. 100% judgment. Do we really think heaven on earth is going to be people walking around with judgment all the time? Or do we think it's accepting people for who they are, what they are, and letting them be the truest expression of themselves? As long as they're not harming somebody else, what's wrong with that? I can look at somebody now and be with somebody, and they can have a vastly different opinion than some of my opinions. I don't think it means we abandon ourselves or our identity, who we are, what we are. No, I get to be me too. And I'd love to have a conversation about me and what you think, and we walk away from each other a little bit richer. We don't have to walk away in judgment. She's wrong. I don't know why she thinks like, I can't believe she thinks that. Or I can walk away and like, that was really amazing. I'm so glad that that person opened up to me and felt safe with me, that they could really divulge part of who they were. And I might not agree with them, but I can honor them for that experience. It's a different vibration. It makes a different kind of peace and love and harmony. So I guess that'd be a good challenge for this week or every day. How much can you not judge? How much can you catch yourself judging and go, oh, and step back and be that observer and go, why am I doing this? Do I want to do this? Is there a different way I want to be right now? And hey, you may want to judge up and down till the end of your life. Okay. But I think a lot of us are feeling this call to change. I think that's one of the reasons I'm making these videos, is to put it out there and say there's another way of doing this. And I think we've been taught these lessons through various religions and things like that through history for a very long time. But they also get diluted. They also get corrupted because other people want to control other people. When the message is simply, don't judge. Figure out why you're judging. And if you want to judge, that's okay too. Because you're free to be who you are. It's bringing forth an awareness, though, about the judgment. Why you might be doing it. And if you want to change it. You don't have to. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to go within and do deep inner work or anything like that if you don't want to, if you don't feel like there's a reason. If you're going along with your life and you're happy, then that's all that matters. But I think for a lot of people, there's this deep calling within that there's something not right. There's something that I need to do and to change. And I think if you're feeling that, one of the biggest first places you can start with is that judgment. Because not only do we judge other people, we judge ourselves constantly. Oh my gosh, judge ourselves. Am I judging my food? Am I judging what I'm driving? Am I judging what I'm wearing? Why am I doing that? Oh, that just takes judgment to a whole nother level, doesn't it? We talk about the external with other people, but then we need to bring it back in at home. Judging ourselves. So maybe you start there. Maybe you start with judging you. Maybe you start with judging other people because that's easier. I have no judgment. You start where you want to, if you want to. But it's an interesting proposition to dig into judgment. Because I think if there's a new earth or a heaven on earth or anything like that, I think we're not going to be walking around judging people and telling people what is a sin or not a sin or anything of the sort. We're going to be telling people to do what is right for them, as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else and their ability to do what they need to. I think that's pretty powerful. I hope you have a great day. Looks like it's going to be a nice one, warming up. The sun's coming out, it's kissing my face, and I'm loving it. See if I can pan over here to this gorgeous sunrise. So I wish you a day of examining judgment if you wish and feel called to. And if you don't, that's okay too. Have a wonderful day.